I haven't recorded anything on weekend since the past few.
Coming up next, it's the Flintstones, followed by Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? On Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Followed by The Jetsons on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's The Jetsons, followed by Tom and Jerry on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tom and Jerry, followed by the Acme Hour on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Acme Hour, followed by Rocky and Bullwinkle on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Rocky and Bullwinkle, followed by Dudley Do Right on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Dudley Do Right, followed by Big Bag on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Big Bag, followed by Small World on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Big Bag, followed by Small World on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Small World, followed by The Bugs and Daffy Show on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's The Bugs and Daffy Show, followed by Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater on Cartoon Network. Coming up next,
It's you today! YouTubers on WR12.
Coming up next, it's the Acme Hour, followed by Animaniacs on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Animaniacs, followed by Tiny Toons on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Tiny Toons, followed by Bugs and Daffy on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Flintstones, followed by Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? On Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Followed by JBBO on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's JBBO, followed by Toonheads on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Toonheads, followed by the Coming up next, it's the Bob Clampett Show, followed by the Tex Avery Show, only on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the New Year's Eve Bash, followed by Toonami New Year's Evil on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Toonami New Year's Evil on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Flintstones, followed by Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's the Acme Hour, followed by Cow and Chicken on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Cow and Chicken, followed by Dexter's Laboratory on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Dexter's Laboratory, followed by Alvin and the Chipmunks on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks, followed by Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? On Cartoon Network. Coming up next, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks, followed by Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? On Cartoon Network.